Time now for the Comfort Zone, sponsored by John C. Flood. We do it all.
All right, today in the Comfort Zone, we're talking about how to get your home ready for warmer weather. And here with some tips from John C. Flood is our Vice President of Marketing, Chris Thompson. Always great to have you here, Chris.
I love being here.
Absolutely. Let's dive right in. So now that we're officially in spring, what's something homeowners should focus on outside of the home?
Well, the big thing, and I know we mentioned this before, is that outdoor spigot that people use to attach their hose. Obviously, you're supposed to make sure you take that and disconnect it and turn it off during the winter time. But obviously, we've had some very unusual weather and some very long stretches of cold. So one of the first things when you turn that on is you want to check to see if there's any like micro leaks or anything like that. Anything leaking on the outside or the inside where that goes on the inside. If there's any leaks going on there, it potentially happened because it froze and then thawed out. And then the first time you put running water through there, it's going to find the path of least resistance, and you're going to know you've got an issue. So if you see some water outside around that spigot or where it is on the inside, then you have a problem and need to call somebody.
Oh, it sounds like a nightmare for homeowners.
It can be very bad.
It sounds terrible. Just your entire backyard is flooding.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about electrical or safety checks that homeowners should be thinking about.
Well, if you have a newer home, I'd say in the last 20 years, most homes have those outlets to have the little test and reset buttons, the GFCI. So that's a good thing to check because those are a very good safety measure because if something is getting overloaded, people plugging too many things in there, again, which we talked about before, but a good thing to do is to hit the test thing there, and if you plug something in that's not working and then hit the reset and it is working, that means it's functioning properly. And those little outlets are just another good safety measure to have in a home. Like our home does not have those, but I probably shouldn't be talking about it. I should lead by example on that one. But it's just another thing because obviously people will start using fans during hot time to circulate air and that sort of thing. That's when people start trying to overpower their outlets.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a good tip. I don't know if I've ever used. I've seen those,
well,
but I don't think people know how they work. So this is great.
Well, everybody looks at them, they're like,
I wonder what this button does. Exactly. No, this is the advice that we all need. So what's the best way to avoid that first hot day panic when the AC doesn't work? We've all been there. How do we avoid it?
Well, luckily recently this is a good time to do it because it's going to be warm today. Turn your AC on.
Okay.
See if it's working. Because obviously if it's not, then you have an issue because it's going to be cold tomorrow because people have been using their heat, then their AC, their heat, their AC. We got 80-degree weather, and then you got 40-degree weather. It's really, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of crazy, but it's not exactly a science right now. And I'm sure for the weather people, it must be really exciting because they really have no idea. They're like, it's going to be 80 and then 50 tomorrow.
Yeah, it is crazy in the area right now.
But what you want to do is obviously you want to test your AC, test the load, and make sure it works because the last thing you want to do is wait for that big heat wave to come. And then find out it's not working. It hasn't been really thrown through its test phase yet, and then you're trying to call a home service provider, and they're booked up. If you wait until everybody else is calling, you're going to be in that queue waiting for somebody to come out, and that obviously is a worst-case scenario. So the best thing is to start testing it and making sure it works before then. Today would be a good day to start.
Absolutely, that's great advice.
And then you can turn the heat on again tomorrow.
There we go. Make sure that you're warm, but just test it out. Make sure things are working. So we hear a lot about AC systems leaking water, which again, very annoying. What causes that and what can homeowners do?
Well, the biggest culprit is the condensate line. This is a little PVC, typically a white PVC tube that you'll see coming alongside of your system. And that is basically, it's pulling air from outside to bring it inside, so the moisture. And what happens with moisture any time it can collect and it will get algae or debris and that sort of thing. It'll clog that condensate line. If that happens, at worst case scenario, it will shut your system down. And we get a lot of calls from people, their system won't turn on. It's just because this little condensate line is clogged. And there's some things you can do. You can take distilled vinegar, pour it down there, let that break apart the algae or things that are in there, flush some water through it just to kind of help keep that thing running and clean so that the water comes in here. If it gets clogged, it's going to find another place to get out. And a lot of times it can leak through your floor. It'll cause all kinds of problems. And it's a simple little fix. It's one of the simplest little things you can do to really avoid a huge disaster.
Absolutely, and that's why we're so glad to have you here today, because today is the day to test all of your systems before it gets too warm, before we notice major issues. Today is the day to reach out to get help in your home. If you notice any of these issues, what's the best way for people to reach out?
You can go to our website. Everybody loves websites. You can go to johncflood.com. You got our phone number. You can reach us through email, contact us. You can certainly call us.
Absolutely.
And we're happy to help. And this obviously is a slow time, so this is the best time to, if you got issues or you think you might have issues, call now.
Absolutely. We have that information on the bottom of your screen right now. If you have issues in your home, don't wait. Call John C. Flood. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.